Hello, and welcome back to the Psyched Up Podcast, everyone's favorite psychology-themed podcast. I'm your host, Frank Silva. We would once again like to thank our most loyal sponsor, Stamps.com, for helping fund what we do and supporting our favorite segment here, the mailbag. As I mentioned last episode, our theme for today is the perspectives of the biopsychosocial model. What are they and how do they relate? Our first email today comes to us from Michael D. Hey, what's up, Frank? Love the show. Thank you, Michael. Just wanted to write in and talk about the behavioral and experiential perspective. Okay. The behavioral and experiential perspective inspects observed behaviors and experiences as well as how a disorder may present itself through signs and symptoms. Specifically, this perspective takes into consideration how the same disorder may present around the world, making it as universal as possible. That was very well explained, Michael. Thank you very much. Stephanie D. wrote us an email explaining how the behavioral and experiential perspective contribute to the biopsychosocial model. This perspective contributes to the biopsychosocial model by including culture in the equation of things that can affect psychopathology, highlighting aspects that aren't just biological. Quite astute, Stephanie. Very astute. Thank you. Our next email comes to us from Katerina T. Katerina says she would like to tell us about the neuroscience perspective. I'm all ears, Katerina. Katerina tells us the neuroscience perspective is a way that we can diagnose what part of the brain has a delay with development that is causing the mental disorder, which is where we understand where the signs of abnormal behaviors are occurring within parts of the brain. Couldn't have said it any better myself, Katerina. Thank you so much for listening and supporting our show. Our next email comes to us from Eric C. Eric C. writes in expounding on what Katerina wrote and how the neuroscience perspective relates to the biopsychosocial model. The neuroscience perspective contributes to the biopsychosocial model by looking at not only the structure of our brain, but how it reacts to outside stimulus too, showing how our brain handles things like social interactions, combining biological and social factors. Very good. And last but not least, our final email of the day comes to us from Sarai M. regarding the evolutionary perspective and how it relates to the biopsychosocial model. She writes, the evolutionary perspective examines the disorders. It considers traits including memory and language. It examines behaviors and feelings, what others consider abnormal. The perspective helps look beyond the current symptoms and signs of a disorder and instead consider the history of disorder and how humans have evolved with it. Thank you very much, Sarai. That was a great email. Well, and that's it for our show today. I would like to thank my guest, Ivan Pavlov, for coming on today and talking about conditioning. It was a really illuminating discussion, and I'm sorry, someone just rang the doorbell. I gotta run. I'll catch you guys next time, and until then, stay psyched.